Welcome to my designer class. My name is Mercy and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful card using Geared Up Garage and Crackle Paint background stamp. So one of the techniques I used here was this black ice technique for creating this road, if you will, at the lower part of the card. So I will start by showing you how I did that. Now, it's nice to have a scrap piece of paper, and here is my silver foil. This is 1 inch by 5.5, and then I attached the a sticky note here just so it's a handle. So I will bring in my this is StazOn ink. You definitely want to use StazOn for this technique. Now I like to kind of wave it, and I kind of missed a little there, so I'll try one more round, and there you go. So I think that looks pretty good. I will set this aside to dry, and we will start doing some stamping with the Stamparatus. So setting that aside, I will bring in my Stamparatus. I have some Balmy Blue cardstock here. Now I created this L just so that when I stamp, nothing, I don't have like an edge that isn't stamped, and I don't have to trim then. So it's a very easy thing to do, especially with your Stampin' Trimmer, to create that. So here is my Balmy Blue. I'm doing tone on tone. So unfortunately you can't see this really well, how I'm stamping this, but actually you don't have to have this really exact. That's what I love about this background stamp. There's no straight lines, so it's very kind of loosey-goosey, if you will. You don't have to be too careful to have a really pretty image. Even if you don't have it 100% stamped, it looks amazing. So there we go. I missed a little there, so I can come in and press a little bit more if I want, or I can just be happy with it. It's just kind of whatever you want. I think that's good enough. So I will put this part of the Stamparatus aside, and I'll bring in another window where I have the for the car. Now I've gone ahead and die cut my little car, as you can see, and I created a template here. So I'm going to just set this in here. This is the amazing part about the Stamparatus. If you create all these like dies and just had one template, you could stamp up so many. It's great for, you know, multiple stamp cards if you're doing a lot of cards, or if you just want to save some time for a class or whenever you're doing a full assembly. Okay, so I just am going to quickly stamp this car. I think this set is really cute. There are a lot of things you can do with it. I liked it with the pool party and the Bermuda Bay, but the next card we're going to do is going to be more of a yellow theme. So the car will be yellow. Okay, so here we go. Here's the card. And oh, I did forget, I normally will use the magnet up in the corner, but it still turned out just fine. So anyway, just a little thing I kind of missed there, but I'm going to set this window aside, and we're done with the Stamparatus for now. I think we're done actually altogether. And I will just show you a little bit about the coloring now. So here are some of our elements here. I will bring in my Stampin' Blends and show you what we have for that. Okay, so I did stamp this earlier, and honestly I do feel like it's better to let it dry longer. You can see this is darker, so it dries a little lighter. It probably would be okay, but sometimes the lines get a little fuzzy if you kind of rush it. So I will just leave that for now, using one of the ones I had previously done. So this is sort of like, you know, subjectional, how you want to color this. I'm using a light smoky slate here, and I want some of this chrome to really stand out. So I'm just coloring in a little bit. This is really a fast one to color, believe it or not. And it's largely because this has a lot of shading. The stamp, the artist who designed this did a lot of shading. So it really takes out a lot of the work, and it looks professional with very little extra coloring, if you will. So I love this set. I think it's a great masculine set. But one of the things with the sentiments, some of them are a little bit specific for like Father's Day, and I like to generally, well, I only have one father, so I don't make too many Father's Day cards, but there are a lot of really cute ones. And I want to use this Geared Up to Celebrate stamp, which I'll show you how I modified it to fit the die. Okay, but before that, I will continue to color. Now, I liked adding a little blue. Normally, you would have the headlights maybe a yellow, but this isn't totally reality, so we could take a few liberties, if you will. And I thought, you know how those lights that are people have on their cars, they're kind of a bluish tint? Why not have it the blue there? So again, it's very much like whatever you as the artist, if you will, wants, you can kind of do. That's what I love about stamping. We can kind of interpret things and do whatever we think looks good. And usually it turns out pretty darn well. So I would just suggest you just, like take a few liberties once in a while. What's the harm? It's just a color. It's not a real car. So you don't have to pass any type of approval. It's just yourself to make happy. So anyway, I have seen a lot of like sports cars that are yellow. And I was just thinking, well, I want to make this one yellow. Red is really classic and of course looks wonderful with this set. But yellow and the more of the blue teal with the Bermuda Bay and Pool Party look also pretty cool. So here we go. I'm almost done coloring that part. So that looks pretty well. Now that was Daffodil Delight in the dark that I used. And now I'm going to bring in Mango Melody to make it even darker where the lines are, etc. So you just put it in here, put a little here, just wherever the lines are. And it's a little bit darker. It's not substantially darker, but you can definitely tell if it adds some shading. So just a few ideas. Okay, so there we have the car. And next we're going to talk about the sentiment again. And in this original card, I have this "You Jumpstart My Heart," which is really a cool sentiment, but it's not something you would maybe give to every man or young guy in your life. For example, I don't think I would want to send my nephew this. But this other sentiment, "All Geared Up to Celebrate," is perfect for a birthday. But there's another little problem in which the frame that I wanted to use is actually too small. So that brings me to masking. Masking is an extremely easy technique. So I will bring in the stamp here and just show you how I did that. It's just nothing to be intimidated, but you can see right here, if I put this on, it would not fit. That all definitely, it's just too long then. So all you need is like some Scotch tape or something, and all you'd have to do is just cover that all part. So I will bring in my Versamark and just show you how I did this. Here's my black, basic black cardstock, and I thought it was really cool to have that. So you just stamp as usual, and then make sure you just remove this part and stamp onto your card. But I did want to use the embossing buddy, so I always use my embossing buddy just to make sure I don't have like fingerprints. So you just put this where you want it as usual, and all is gone. No pun intended. I do think the all is really cute, and I wish they had designed it for this particular die to work. But unfortunately, it's not quite that way, but it's an easy fix. And you really don't miss the all part. It still makes plenty of sense to say "Geared Up to Celebrate." So I'm going to just quickly sprinkle my embossing powder, and this is the silver one, and show you how I did this. I'm going to turn on my gun, let that heat up for a minute. We'll set this aside since I love watching it come up. Yeah, there it comes. Geared up to celebrate. So there we go. And as you can see, now the die fits. Now I did go ahead do this ahead of time, so I'm not going to show the whole big shot and running it through, but you can see it definitely fits. So I will set this aside now and bring in the finished one. Now I used the Pretty Label punch to punch out this background, or it would be like a matting for it, and I think that looks really good with it. It actually, I just think it's really cool looking. So I will now bring in the rest of the card, the base. Here's my base, and this is the Daffodil Delight. And here is my card matted with black cardstock. So you can see how that just kind of helps make it look pop and continue the whole theme of with the black in it. Now, I did want to mention that the metallic, this ribbon is a new one, and it's in the Occasions catalog, and I think it's just gorgeous. It's great. I have a different card I want to show with the cake one. Piece of cake, I think it is called. Anyway, it's black silver, and it just really adds a definite nice cool touch, and that's also why it inspired me to want to use the silver embossing powder to just continue that whole theme. So I will go ahead and attach this now to the back, and I'll bring in my liquid glue. So it doesn't take a ton of glue, but I like to run a little bit over the tape just so it doesn't get hung up if I need to shift it a little, and it's never a problem. So you can definitely do that if you want. So here we go. And yeah, I'm kind of a little high here. Let's see if I can adjust this. Yes. All right, that looks pretty straight. Nice and straight card is always a nice thing. And here I will go ahead and add a few dimensionals to this card. But before I do that, I do need to bring in the gears. I do have some gears that I want to add to the card. I think this set is just adorable. So, of course, cars and young guys, I think, you know, teenagers, that would be perfect. Even though this is a Father's Day set, I'm, you know, thinking my nephews, and I have also a teenage son. So this would be a perfect set for any, you know, any age pretty much. I definitely am excited to have this set. There are a lot of gorgeous, more feminine card, you know, stamp sets, but sometimes it's kind of hard to get a really cool, fun, masculine set. So this was definitely a must-have for me. All right, so I will bring back in my silver foiled paper, or the silver foil here, and I will go ahead and attach this with, it's the black ice. Isn't that cool? And it's so super easy, just using the StazOn ink. Piece of cake. Okay, so I'm just going to attach this, and I have this the full length of the card. I kind of thought that looked nice. Let me make sure I got this straight. Okay, there we go. And it's just starting to come together here. Before I attach the car, I'll just kind of do a dry layout, and I will go ahead and bring in the gears. I have already die cut the gears. So here is like the circle one, and then here of course is a 3-part one. Now they have multiple ones where one is almost covers like half of this whole page. It's really cool, but I didn't want that to be the whole focus here. So I went ahead with a few of the smaller ones. So I will quickly attach this. Now I think I should have actually done the gear first so I could, the other gear, just so I could line it up like it's, let's see, I think I can make it work though. Kind of make it look like it's in the gear. They match. If you're a person wanting to make sure every detail's right, I do think it's better to do this one first. So here we go. Very simple though. Okay, yeah, we got to get that gear in place. I want that slightly higher. Okay, that's fine though. That looks pretty good. I'm going to set aside the wet glue now, and we will just finish up this card shortly. I hope you enjoyed watching this and will consider subscribing to my channel. I have different cards I'll be showing from using stamp sets from the Occasions Catalog 2019. So stay tuned, and please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. All right, here's my Geared Up to Celebrate, which is extremely versatile in many respects for any age. It's perfect for a birthday. I will also do a little stamping inside. Okay, so here is my race car, if you will. A muscle car, I guess it would be. And I will bring in my card here. So to stamp inside, I will just, I have this little gas can that I'm going to use, and I have a happy birthday from a different set, which it's easy to come by happy birthday ones. They're pretty common stamps, so if you have any kind of repertoire of stamps, you will definitely have that one. And then the birthday, okay. Well, actually, I think I will actually use my blue. I will bring back in my Balmy Blue stamp for this. And then I will just center this right here. Happy birthday. Isn't that perfect? I definitely think this is a good stamp set for any of the men or young guys in your life. Teenagers, whoever, even pretty young boys would probably enjoy this one. So just adding a little bit of tear and tape, and we will have this card done. I really appreciate you taking some time to watch me and make this card. If there are any products you would be interested in ordering, please email me at mewants3@gmail.com, and I will give you a hostess code and help you place your order. Okay, happy stamping. I will bring in my other card so you can just see the two of them side by side. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. Happy stamping.